The announcements that have been made by the large supermarkets, particularly the big four, really set a challenge for us and our members. Sadly, many of these announcements mean that it's going to have an impact on jobs, and the union has to be absolutely clear in responding to those challenges. Our national officers will be charged with the responsibility of meeting those companies and addressing the concerns of our members. I do really want to say to our union representative members, the union will do everything we can to alleviate and address some of the concerns that obviously will arise as a result of the announcements. Of course, retail is a very competitive business, and that means that when things are not as good financially as they are, particularly with the continuation, or at least the part of the austerity programme that was announced, this impacts on our members. So let me say, as your General Secretary, we'll do everything we can to support you through this difficult time. Some of these issues, of course, not in our control, and sometimes the announcements are made late to us and we're responding, having to respond very quickly after the decision's been made, but we will do everything we can to assist you through these very difficult, challenging times. One of the impacts that has affected the big four retailers where we have significant membership is the move by some of the discounters, Aldi and Lidl particularly, who are not only non-unionised companies, but of course have come in and had a great impact in taking away market share of the companies where Usdaw has its membership. And of course, knowing retail is a very competitive business, there's a responsibility on the union to organise labour within these companies. The reality is that if they continue to grow and are successful, they will take business from where we have membership. So on one level, we've got to ensure that our strategy of organising isn't just the big four, although predominantly that's where we have to put our resource. But not ignore the impact of these companies coming into the UK who are taking away market share from unionised companies. So there's a challenge for the union, but of course there's a challenge for the retailers too. It's a very competitive sector, and their strategy that they employ in meeting those challenges is really a matter for them. But if they get that wrong, of course, if they make the wrong business decisions, that impacts upon our membership. And this is why the national officers who negotiate, along with union representatives from each of the big four companies, will be addressing their ideas, their strategy, not only how they deal with some of the announcements which will mean, sadly, job losses, store closures, but in a sense addressing the strategy about what will protect our members and their jobs going forward. This is something that is not new in the retail sector. It's always been competitive. We've seen the likes of Woolworths, Ethel Austin, and companies go out of business, Comet, etc. And it's those companies that have the right strategy that will survive what is a very competitive sector. For us, of course, we've got to make sure that the companies listen to our views, that they take on board the concerns of our membership. And in fact, in some of our press releases, we've made that point. It's about taking the staff with you on the road to recovery, not excluding the union from these discussions. After all, the views we express are those who are given to us from our members, and our members work in retail. They know exactly the problems. They're well educated to the concerns. They know when the public are turning away. So if you get the staffing levels wrong, if you're not providing the right service, that's why the union is in that discussion. And we say to those retailers, you will need us, and particularly you'll need your staff. And listening to their concerns is fundamental to make sure that the business survives into what is effectively a very challenging period. Really, the union's value comes into place when times are more difficult. And sadly, the retail sector is going through major challenges at the moment. And this is where the union can really come to the fore. This is why the role of the union representative is crucial. It's not easy being a union representative when you're handling difficult situations, bad news. You're often caught between the announcements the companies make, which is not in your gift, you're not a part of those decisions. But you are there to give that support to our members who are concerned about whether they will have a job in the near future. What does it mean for their staff rotas? What does it mean in terms of their terms and conditions? What I can assure you that in this most difficult time, probably we faced for a significant number of years, your union will do everything we can to support you. It's across all of the retail companies. Some of the changes are much more greater challenges than some others, but this is where the union needs to make sure that we're there, given that appropriate support. And I would say to union representatives, sometimes the communication channels are not as great as we want them because companies don't consult as early as we'd like them to do. And we're often sometimes running behind as a result of an announcement that's been made to the city or made to their board of directors. And this is why we keep pushing companies to consult early, to take the union into that discussion early, and for us not to be just responding in a reactive way. And this is something that, you know, we've been pursuing politically, we pursue it with these employers, and we'll continue to do so. But you can be assured the union does understand exactly the pressures that are on you now, and we will do everything we can to alleviate them to the best of our ability.